They're lined up. They're off in the Dubai duty-free Irish Derby, with 3 of the first 4 home at Epsom clashing once again. A mile and a half to go, and it is Adelaide River who takes them along in the end of the first furlong from San Antonio in the blue cap. Handy in third is Auguste Rodin, who's followed by Proud and Regal. Covent Garden next, then Spreewell with a couple of lengths to Up and Under alongside the Great White Birch, and the back marker is Peking Opera. At the end of the first couple of furlongs, and the leader is Adelaide River, followed by stable companions San Antonio and Auguste Rodin, and fourth is Proud and Regal, and fifth is Covent Garden, with the final 4 Spreewell, Up and Under, White Birch and Peking Opera. Little has changed through these early stages. They've got just over a mile left to go, and it's Adelaide River and Shamie Heffernan by 2 lengths to San Antonio and Wayne Lorden. In third place is Auguste Rodin and Ryan Moore attempting the Epsom Cutter double. In fourth is Proud and Regal and Gavin Ryan. Next, as they make the run towards the 7 furlong point, is Covent Garden, Declan McDonagh on the inside of Spreewell, and Shane Foley as they climb up towards the halfway stage. After Spreewell is Up and Under and Mikey Sheehy, followed by White Birch and Dylan Brown McMonigal, and lastly Peking Opera and Tom Marcon. They've gone by halfway, and still little changes from first to last. It is Adelaide River by 3/4 of a length to San Antonio. In third, a length and a half back, is Auguste Rodin, followed by Proud and Regal 2 lengths to Covent Garden. A place in front of Spreewell, followed at the top of the track by Up and Under, and then White Birch, and Peking Opera has been last from the word go with half a mile to run. Losing on the turn, San Antonio's injured. It's Adelaide River with now looming on the outside, poised is Auguste Rodin. In third is Covent Garden, who's picked up a bit of ground. Spreewell has come under pressure, and then Proud and Regal, they're in the straight. Less than 3 furlongs to go in the Dubai duty-free Irish Derby, and Auguste Rodin joins stable companion Adelaide River. These kick clear of Covent Garden. Spreewell Up and Under, Proud and Regal, Peking Opera, White Birch is last. It's Auguste Rodin who's having to battle here from Adelaide River. 4 lengths to in third place, Covent Garden. It's Auguste Rodin and son as they run up to the finish. It's an Irish Derby of firsts and landmarks for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Auguste Rodin completes the double from Adelaide River and Covent Garden. A clean sweep from Eddie Doyle, and then Peking Opera and Up and Under, Spreewell, Proud and Regal, and a long way off them was White Birch.
It is indeed a first Irish Derby win for Ryan Moore. It's the 15th in the race for Aidan O'Brien, and it is a 100th European Classic victory for the Master of Ballydoyle. That is some achievement. A race that unfortunately has been marred by a very serious injury. It looked like to San Antonio off the home turn, and he certainly didn't do any favours, that incident, to some of those behind. In the end, though, Auguste Rodin has won, but he had to work mighty hard, didn't he? How much did that surprise you?
Yeah, he had to work, Gary. As you say, fantastic achievement by Aidan O'Brien. His 100th European Classic, his 15th Irish Derby, more than double the number of Irish Derbies that Vincent O'Brien won in his time. But yeah, he had to battle Gary. He came up on the outside of his stable companion Adelaide River, and Adelaide River ran a massive race. He was 11 lengths behind Auguste Rodin at Epsom. He's got much closer to him today. He got out in front of Adelaide River, as we kind of thought he might. Auguste Rodin had a lovely trip through the race. Ryan Moore got him settled into a lovely racing rhythm from very early on, and yeah, it took him a little while to get the better of Adelaide River. It always looked like he was going to go and get him, but he got up on the outside. He's battled on, he's got the better of him, and gone on and won by just over a length in the end.
That's it, he seemed to have the perfect sit through the race, didn't he? Auguste Rodin, Adelaide River cutting out the running. Up on his outside is San Antonio. Keep our fingers crossed there, but it didn't look good, I'm afraid, for San Antonio, and hopefully, obviously, Wayne Lorden is okay as well. But it was as you expected on the kind of phalanx of other Coolmore horses around Auguste Rodin there, as he sat in third position. And I think once they got into the straight, and after the sad incident with San Antonio, we were just expecting him to really open up and win by a big margin, but it didn't happen. Is your initial reaction, maybe initial feeling, Adelaide River is taking a big step forward, or is Auguste Rodin just underperformed?
Yeah, it's hard to know, Gary, because of the, as you say, the sad incident to San Antonio. Because when Auguste Rodin came up on the outside, it did look like he was going to go on and win quite well. But Adelaide River, like the two of them pulled well clear of their rivals. White Birch couldn't get going, and he had an excuse again. Spreewell has kept going without closing on the leaders, but the two of them pulled well clear. So you'd have to say that initial reaction is that Adelaide River has probably stepped forward quite a bit definitely from Epsom, and probably on anything that he's done before.
Spreewell was interfered with in the incident with San Antonio, but to me he looked like he was starting to struggle at the time anyway. White Birch has to go down as the huge disappointment. Don, he went in pretty quietly in the end at the second attempt, but never really made any inroads at all, did he?
No, he couldn't get throws. Look, he wasn't helped by the incident either, Gary, so you can maybe give him a pass for this, because it's not his running. He's well out the back. It's not a step forward at all. It's a step backwards from his Epsom Derby run, but I think you can give him a pass based on how the race developed. And it's just here that Auguste Rodin gets the better of Adelaide River. He just goes on, and he kind of grounded out, didn't he? He didn't show an electric turn of foot to come clear. He just kind of grounded out and got the job done.
And the rank outsider, Covent Garden, seems to have run above himself in third as well, so plenty of food for thought there. You would have to say, though, Don, that this weekend the Curragh does seem to have been favouring horses racing prominently. I guess that could well have played its part in the way things have panned out as well, could it?
Yeah, look, all weekend, Gary, and it's often the case that the Curragh on quick ground, it's hard to make ground from the rear. You really don't want to be too far off the pace unless they go a breakneck pace up front, unless they go too fast. And Adelaide River was ridden forward by Shamey Heffernan. He stretched them out down the back straight, and he just kept on going. Whereas Auguste Rodin had to go and get him. Like he was handy as well, just in behind the pace, so he had the ideal trip through the race, and he's gone on and won well, I'm sure. In the record books, Aidan O'Brien's 100th European Classic, it won't be how he did it, it's that he did it, and he's done it, he's got the job done, he's won well in the end.
Here we are from the overhead angle off the home turn. This is where the eventual winner, Auguste Rodin, takes the measure of Adelaide River, but as I say, he's unable to put much daylight between himself and his stable companion. Adelaide River running a big race in second spot. And Covent Garden, as I say, his third place finish would be a little bit of a head scratcher as well, given that he was, I suppose, so unfancied beforehand on, but he did have a good position through the run, which again potentially could have counted for plenty.
Yeah, no, he was a big prize, Covent Garden. He was the outside of the whole field, I think, but yeah, he's kept on and provided Aidan O'Brien with another 1, 2, 3 in the Irish Derby.
Might well just prove to be one of those days when this horse has won without managing to be quite at his brilliant best. And in terms of his future prospects, Don, the rest of the season, how do you see the cards potentially falling for him?
Yeah, look, he can do what he wants to do now, Gary. A mile and a half looks like his trip. He stays this trip well, but I'm sure the team will have a think about it. Could he drop back down to 10 furlongs? Probably he could later on in the season. He's a Group 1 winner over a mile last season. He won the KPMG Champions race at Leopardstown and Champions Weekend as well over a mile, so he has that pace. He sees out a mile and a half well. He's really well-bred horse by Deep Impact out of Rhododendron, and she won Group 1 races at 2, at 3 and at 4. A Galileo mare from a really good family. His granddam was halfway to heaven, who won I think three Group 1s as well, including a Nassau Stakes and an Irish Guineas. So lots of depth to Auguste Rodin's pedigree as well.
Ryan Moore just outlining how it went from his perspective to the Kilmore partners, and slightly muted reception, I suppose, more so than you might expect given the circumstances there. That nasty incident with San Antonio, maybe not quite the performance many would have expected from Auguste Rodin, but he's got the job done. That is the main thing. It's something you often hear about teams in various sports, some being able to win when perhaps they aren't quite at their best, and every chance you'd imagine that maybe he will be back in the sort of form he was at Epsom for later on in the season, perhaps. Yeah,
like his run at Epsom, like he showed an electric turn of foot at Epsom, didn't he, to go and catch King of Steel, and the pair of them pulled well clear. Just you're expecting that he would show that boost, that real pace, turn of foot, that we saw at Epsom. We maybe just didn't see it today, but as you say, Gary, he stuck on willingly and gutsily, got the better of his stable companion, and you never really thought that he wasn't going to go and do it, did you? Like he just always felt he was getting there.
Yes, that is the long and the short of it. And Ryan Moore, well, it was a bit of an anomaly that he hadn't won this race before now, Don. I'm sure nonetheless, while he never gives too much away, he'd be very relieved just to tick that particular box, won't he?
I'm sure he'd be delighted. Like an Irish Derby, it was a kind of a glaring omission from his CV, really, and now that box is ticked, and all is well in the universe.
15 wins in the race for Aidan O'Brien, and that 100th European Classic also secured.
And the second and third as well, just in case, just to make
Apart
sure.
from the first time he's done that as well.
Exactly.
It'll be very interesting to see whether Adelaide River in particular is able to back that up next time. Covent Garden, I suppose, as well. Who actually looked like he was staying on and closing again near the finished Covent Garden. Declan McDonough just eased him down the last few strides. A good payday for him.
Yeah, the Covent Garden, you could see him going out in trip. Like he finished third behind Picking Upper over 1 mile and 5 furlongs on soft ground the last day. So he's a horse who you'd think if he goes beyond 1.5 miles now, he could be seen in an even better light.
So there we have it, the story of the 2023 Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby. Auguste Rodin justifying favouritism in a race that, as I say, was marred by that nasty incident involving San Antonio. Try and get you some news on Wayne Norden as well as soon as we can. Pictures being taken now for this historic success. Aidan O'Brien at the centre of attention as per usual on this day. Auguste Rodin, the winner of our feature event.
Yeah, and it was the only classic in either England or Ireland missing on Ryan Moore's CV, no longer. Auguste Rodin, a 15th Irish Derby for Aidan O'Brien, his first since Santiago in 2020. And a clean sweep that day, 1, 2, 3, 4 on that occasion. And just posing some photographs afterwards. The race was marred significantly by the horrible looking injury suffered by San Antonio, and obvious thoughts straight after the race with that horse, and no doubt with the rider as well. There is the Irish Derby winner of 2023, that is Auguste Rodin. A little bit of magic struck to go and win at Epsom last time after that dismal run in the Guineas the time before, relative to his reputation, of course. The bang back to form on that occasion has completed the Epsom Curragh double, following the likes of Galileo, High Chaparral, Camelot and Australia, the 5th horse trained by Aidan O'Brien, to do the Epsom Curragh double. 4 to 11 favourite, big prices the other two, Adelaide River 33 to 1, Covent Garden 80 to 1, clean sweep Ballydoyle.